So I have a few things to talk about, and because the Meta.versatile I'll save for last because it's very short. But thanks for inviting me. So I'm John Linowes. I actually live in New Hampshire, and I last fall published this book, Unity Virtual Reality Project. So it's a good segue from the other presentations. One thing I just wanted to do is quickly walk through what the content of the book is, just to kind of give you a feel for it. So the chapter 1 is just kind of an introduction to VR and how it works, and then we focus on objects and scale and the importance of scale and importing from modeling packages. Then we go into actually building and running your project, and the idea of having a model for yourself and the HMD and the body, and modeling that in your hierarchy. Chapter 4 goes into gaze-based control and user input using simple gaze-based. Then we get into the world space UI techniques and go through about a dozen different things, from the heads-up display to in-game objects that work as controls, and then jump into first-person character and sense of self and how VR differs from other applications because of that first-person experience. Then we talk about physics and the environment and how to model that in Unity. This is a little game where we're doing headshots where balls come and you try to hit a target with your head. Then chapter 8 is on walkthroughs and rendering and issues of optimization when you're, which is critical for doing good VR. There is a chapter on 360 degree, which is relative to, I kind of laughed when I saw this slide in the first presentation for the equirectangular. But you can put your 360 as a sphere, but also it's kind of cool as if it's the inside of a Christmas orb, and stick your head in it. And so there's lots of different ways that you can play around with 360 when you're in a modeled environment. And then the last chapter gets into social networking and how to implement that using the Unity networking tool. So the book it's not an academic book, it's kind of like a blog on steroids, but lots of projects. Second thing I want to talk about is a new book that's coming out next month that we're finishing up. I'm working on with Matt Schoen, who is going to be working. He's just got hired by the Unity VR Labs with John O. Forbes. And so this is actually for Android developers who are interested in developing for VR. And it's like, why would you do that instead of Unity? Well, for one, an app might only be half a megabyte as opposed to 23 megabytes. So again, just quickly walk through the kind of projects that are in the book. We talk about how to use Android Studio and kind of an introduction to that, and using the Cardboard SDK. Then we built a basic project using the OpenGL ES, and then we implement a little launcher project where you can bring up all your Cardboard apps on your phone and pick them and launch into them. So this is using some simple parallax techniques. Then in the book, we actually build a graphics engine that for rendering that has transforms, components, cameras, light, and so forth. It's a sort of simplistic, but it's actually very powerful. And then the rest of the projects in the book use that toolkit, that engine, for actually building projects. We have a solar system, again, 360s, that's why we're here tonight. The 360 gallery, where we actually use orbs as thumbnails, but you click on it and it becomes part of the space, so it's kind of a fun project. An OBJ model viewer, which is really kind of lame because the OBJ files could be quite rich, but it gives you a sense of what it takes to do that. And then lastly, a kind of a trippy music visualizer thing where you can play any song and do that. So So those are those two things. And then what I'm starting to work on now is which was the topic that I sent to Jeff, is this idea, and it's really still kind of in the idea phase, but it's called Meta.versatile, and the idea is a VR developers network where the concept is a community-driven developer network and platform for VR and AR professionals to profile, showcase, team up, explore your skills and stuff. So, you know, for profiling, you could go in and it's kind of like a LinkedIn, but you could use it as like a meta social thing where you could sort of tie into any of your other profiles, whether it's Stack Overflow or DevPost or whatever else you're using for you. You can sort of use this as a central idea, but then also be able to showcase any 3D content and be able to allow people to browse it in VR. So we're going to start with a web interface to actually enter in your content, but you can explore it in a VR. But also be able to, though, you know, have a sense of VR and AR related skill sets so that you can find people and say what you're good at. So the vision is that it's a web-based interface to sign up, and an API, and then you know, have different front ends for browsing through this database. So it's kind of, I don't know, kind of mixing the old web world and you know, flesh and blood with all the VR stuff that's going on. So it is still in the concept stage, and the reason I'm presenting it tonight is I would welcome if anyone's interested in this idea and working with me on this, just, you know, catch up with me after, you know, later tonight, and I want to try to put this together. There is a website that you can just, at this point, it's not really collecting any information, but it's the Meta.versatile.com, and you can just put in your email, and then we'll see where that goes. So join the Meta.versatile. Thank you.
2 minutes for questions.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah. Price of books.
The price, okay. Well, the books are available on Amazon. There's ebook and the regular book. Actually, I don't know. It's like $30 or something.
All right.
If you're interested in the Android one, I should have mentioned, if you're interested in the Android one, there is. I have a coupon code for 50% off.
Whoa.
And so I will, actually I have it in my briefcase there, so I can get that to you. But all these are available from Pact Publishing website as well as Amazon.
Right. Any more questions?
All right, thanks, John. Also, he didn't plug his podcast, but he's got a great podcast. It's Uncle Johnny's Virtual Reality Podcast.
Yeah.
I really recommend it.